Every morning, Maria quietly emptied trash bins on the executive floor, enduring their mockery and deliberate messes. The executives never bothered learning the janitor's name, treating her as invisible. When Maria finally walked into the quarterly board meeting looking different from the usual cleaner who runs errands for them, the room fell completely silent. In the dim light of early morning, before the sun had even begun to rise, Maria Vega silently pushed her cleaning cart through the quiet hallways of Titan Technologies' executive floor. The building was eerily quiet at 4 a.m., just how she preferred it. No executives to mock her, no demanding voices calling for immediate assistance on spills they deliberately created. Maria approached the row of executive offices with a resigned sigh. Every morning was the same routine. Despite clear company policies about recycling and waste management, the executives seemed to take pleasure in creating the most difficult messes possible. She started with the marketing VP's office, where crumpled papers surrounded an empty trash bin like a child's basketball game gone wrong. Next was the sales director, whose half-empty coffee cups were strategically placed on the edge of expensive furniture, rings of brown staining the polished surfaces. A pizza box stuffed with food scraps in the paper recycling. Plastic bottles tossed carelessly onto the floor beside empty bins. When Maria reached CFO Richard Denton's corner office, she paused at the doorway. Tonight's mess was worse than usual. The remains of what appeared to be a late dinner were scattered across his mahogany desk. Sauce splattered important-looking documents, napkins crumpled between folders, and a half-eaten sandwich perched dangerously close to his keyboard. Taped to his monitor was a yellow sticky note. Maria didn't need to read it to know what it would say, but she did anyway. Clean this up properly this time. The implication that she'd done inadequate work before stung, especially since she knew she was thorough and professional despite their treatment. Maria had been enduring this type of treatment for 3 months now, while the executives treated all the overnight cleaning staff with contempt. She faced the worst of it as the newest hire. Perhaps it was her age that made them think she was an easy target, or perhaps they simply needed someone to belittle to feel important. Just last week, COO Jennifer Marsh had spotted Maria cleaning the hallway outside the conference room during business hours. A rare overlap in their schedules. Marsh had immediately summoned her with a sharp snap of her fingers. When Maria approached, Marsh informed her that an executive meeting was about to begin and ordered her to fetch coffee for everyone present. Her tone made it clear this wasn't a request. When Maria had politely explained that catering wasn't part of her responsibilities, Marsh's face had hardened. In front of several passing employees, she had berated Maria, suggesting that someone should be grateful to even have employment at her age. The humiliation had burned, but Maria had simply nodded and walked away, leaving Marsh mid-tirade. That small act of defiance had consequences. The executives' offices had been particularly messy every night since then. What the executives at Titan Technologies failed to realize was that underestimating people can be a dangerous mistake. They saw only what they wanted to see. An older woman in a cleaning uniform who they believed had no power, no voice, and no recourse against their behavior. But appearances can be deceiving, and some people are not at all who they seem to be. The mistreatment Maria endured went beyond simple disrespect. During her shifts, she became aware of troubling patterns throughout the company. Other staff members whispered about problems but were too afraid to speak up. Each night, Maria documented what she observed. Her phone contained hundreds of photos, evidence of inappropriate behavior, possible financial improprieties, and clear violations of company policies. The executives never suspected that the woman they ordered around was carefully monitoring their every move. For 3 months, she had remained patient, quietly gathering information while enduring their disrespect. But everyone has a breaking point. For Maria, that moment finally arrived on a Tuesday night. Last night had been particularly difficult. VP of Operations Mark Greenlee had demanded that Maria stay 2 hours past her shift to clean his office for a morning meeting, deliberately preventing her from taking her legally mandated break. As she scrubbed at coffee stains he could easily have cleaned himself. Maria made a decision. The timing was perfect for what she needed to do next. The quarterly board meeting was scheduled for the following week. That night, Maria called her attorney from her car, instructing him to prepare specific documentation and termination papers for each executive team member. Her lawyer seemed surprised at her sudden decision after months of observation, but Maria was certain. The company she had built to change the tech world for the better had been corrupted beyond what she could have imagined. For the next week, Maria continued her cleaning duties without change, gathering final pieces of evidence and preparing for what was to come. On the morning of the board meeting, Maria didn't arrive in her usual cleaning uniform. Instead, she entered Titan Technologies wearing a tailored business suit, her hair styled professionally instead of tucked under her usual cap. The security guard at the front desk did a double take but let her pass when she presented her ID badge, her real ID, not the one she'd been using for months. As Maria entered the boardroom, several executives glanced at her with confusion, trying to place her familiar face, but failed. The board chairman called the meeting to order. Beginning with an introduction, he informed the room that they had a special guest. Today, we welcome Maria Reyes, who recently became our majority shareholder. A wave of whispers circulated through the room as Maria took the seat at the head of the table. CEO Thomas Bradley leaned over to Richard Denton, clearly concerned about never being informed of such a significant ownership change. Jennifer Marsh scrolled frantically through her phone, as if searching for information about this mysterious major shareholder. When Maria stood to address the room, the executives quieted, still unaware of the connection between this shareholder and their janitor. "Some of you might recognize me," Maria began, her voice steady and confident in a way they had never heard before. "I've been working here for 3 months as a member of your cleaning staff." The blood drained from several executives' faces as recognition finally dawned. Mark Greenlee dropped his pen with a clatter that echoed in the suddenly silent room. Jennifer Marsh's mouth fell open in shock. "During my time here," Maria continued, opening a folder containing printed screenshots, witness statements, and financial irregularities, "I've documented numerous violations of labor laws, ethical standards, and basic human decency." For the next 30 minutes, Maria methodically outlined the toxic culture the executives had fostered. She presented evidence of their mistreatment of staff, not just her, but many employees who had been too afraid to speak up. The executives tried to interrupt, to defend themselves, to question her authority, but Maria had come prepared. Her lawyer distributed copies of her ownership documentation, proof of her identity as the company's founder, and evidence of the ethical violations she'd uncovered. Effective immediately, Maria concluded, her voice never rising but carrying unmistakable authority, "I am terminating the employment of the entire executive team and implementing a complete restructuring of this company, my company." As security collected badges and escorted the shocked executives from the building, Maria stood at the entrance, watching them leave. The same people who couldn't be bothered to learn her name now couldn't look her in the eye as they passed. In the days that followed, Maria met with employees at all levels, explaining what had happened and outlining her vision for rebuilding Titan Technologies with integrity at its core. As for the former executives, they discovered that their reputation for mistreatment had spread throughout the industry. Securing jobs became difficult. They had learned the hard way that character reveals itself in how we treat those we think have no power over us. Have you ever witnessed someone being mistreated at work? And how did you respond?